In this update, we are analyzing the current scenario. For the past few days, it has been said that the nationalism of the Indian Air Force is misplaced. With the speed at which the squadron numbers of the Indian Air Force are declining, it's being suggested that the Indian Air Force would not be able to sustain a two-day war. The argument here is that due to the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, the Indian Air Force has not been able to improve its squadron strength. Additionally, some claim that misplaced nationalism is preventing India from acquiring systems from abroad. Let's pause for a moment and take stock of the systems that the Indian Air Force has acquired in recent years, which are not indigenous. The AH-64 Apache attack helicopters were imported from the United States, with the first unit delivered to the Indian Air Force in 2019. Similarly, Chinook heavy-lift helicopters were also acquired from the United States. The first unit of the S-400 Triumph missile system was delivered to the Indian Air Force in 2019, although the full delivery has faced significant delays. Additionally, a deal for 36 Rafale fighter jets was signed in 2015, and by 2020, all aircraft were delivered to the Indian Air Force. The Heron Mark drones have also been inducted. Therefore, it is not the case that imports for the Indian Air Force have completely stopped. If we look at the current fleet, except for 36 Tejas jets, some Dhruv and Rudra helicopters, and 3 Netra aircraft, most of the equipment is imported. Even the Su-30 MKI is not entirely indigenous, but assembled in India. It's similar to Pakistan's JF-17 Thunder, which has significant foreign input. The Indian Air Force has made attempts to improve its capabilities, with efforts that began from the MMRCA program and ongoing talks with Russia regarding the FGFA project. However, the FGFA was abandoned because Russia was developing a 4.5 generation fighter instead of a 5th generation fighter jet, and the critical technologies promised by Russia were not delivered. Some time ago, Indian Air Force Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadauria stated that the Indian Air Force would not acquire a 5th generation aircraft from abroad. This decision should be appreciated, though some may argue that this is misplaced nationalism. However, the real question should be, even if India wanted to acquire a 5th generation aircraft from abroad, which aircraft would meet its standards? The Su-57 does not qualify as a 5th generation fighter, and the F-35 will not be sold to India. Therefore, India has limited options for acquiring such aircraft internationally. We are frequently told that the Indian Air Force needs MRFA, multi-role fighter aircraft, and some argue that the Indian Air Force made a mistake by purchasing only 36 Rafales. They suggest that the Air Force should have acquired 36 more at the time, which would have increased the number of squadrons from 30 to 32. However, even if the Indian Air Force decides to purchase new fighter jets now, they would have to wait at least 5 to 7 years for delivery due to material shortages and long production timelines. Even if nationalism weren't an issue, new fighter jets would still not arrive any sooner. As a result, the Indian Air Force currently doesn't have many options. It should focus on upgrading its Sukhoi 30 MKI fleet, as well as the MiG-29 and Mirage 2000 aircraft. These planes can be integrated with new radars and systems. While there have been delays in the delivery of Tejas Mark 1A, indicators suggest that production will pick up by next year and increase significantly in the next 1 to 1.5 years. In the worst-case scenario, the Indian Air Force will receive these aircraft by the end of 2025. Unfortunately, the global aviation manufacturing industry is currently struggling, which means even if the Indian Air Force places new orders for aircraft, they will not be delivered for another 5 to 7 years. Therefore, it is not accurate to claim that the government of India is preventing the Indian Air Force from acquiring fighter jets from abroad. The reality is that, even if the Indian Air Force wanted to, the current situation makes it difficult to acquire new aircraft quickly. That's all for this video.
Keep watching Havoc Focus.